This is a Fujifilm X100VI. I've been shooting with it for the past week. Let me tell you what I think about it. This past week, I've taken the Fujifilm X100VI just about everywhere, whether I was heading downtown for a photo shoot, going to the grocery store, or running around doing errands. It's small, compact, and with its fixed 35mm f2 equivalent lens, it eliminates all the decision making that goes into choosing a lens you want to shoot with. When shooting with this camera, you'll quickly realize that it has it all. And just because of its size and very cool retro design, by no means does it make it not a professional camera. It can shoot in burst, it has a mechanical and electronic shutter, exposure bracketing, phase detect autofocus with subject tracking, a hybrid viewfinder, and much more. And switching it into video mode, it has IBIS and can shoot up to 6K 30 frames per second in 422 10-bit log. It even has an internal ND filter, but yet these great features aren't the cause for this hype. After social media hyped up the X100V, the model before this one, everyone wanted to get their hands on that camera because of its built-in film recipes and film simulations. A camera that can take high-quality professional photos, but you can skip the editing process. And for those of you who don't know what film recipes are, they're essentially picture profiles that can simulate your favorite film stocks. And you have the ability to adjust things like your tone curve, dynamic range, and much more to really fine tune it and essentially create your own custom preset to get an amazing photo right out of camera. However, what most people fail to understand is that all Fujifilm cameras are capable of doing this. The X-T5, the $10,000 GFX 102, even my X100F that came out in 2017. So why the X100V and now the new X100VI? Well, it's what I experience every time I pick up this camera and lately this camera, and that's simplicity. From its straightforward dials, its built-in ND filter, its fixed 35mm focal length, to its film recipes, this camera is simple, and it solves a problem that a lot of us photographers have. We bought these big professional cameras that are great for our professional work, but what about when we want to take photos of everyday things? Photos while you're out walking your dog, while you're hanging out with friends, going out for coffee. This is where most of us leave our professional cameras at home because they're just too much to carry around everywhere.
I can get one of you. You want?
Get her, my girl.
Oh, that actually looks good.
And so this is something I really enjoyed with my X100F and in the short time that I had the X100VI. I brought it everywhere with me and took photos of just about everything. It's small form factor that I can easily throw in my jacket or pant pocket without sacrificing image quality or feel like I'm shooting on a dinky point and shoot camera. This is what makes this camera so great. Things like film recipes and simulations are just the extra icing on the cake. Having these recipes so that you can skip the editing process entirely just made it much more enjoyable to shoot and focus on the photography without dreading the post-processing later. The X100VI's 40 megapixel sensor captures some really amazing photos, and when shooting with this camera, it really brought all the enjoyment back into photography. Sitting down after a full day of shooting, transferring the JPEGs over to my phone through the Fujifilm app, and then clicking post without any editing is just such a good feeling that I typically never experience. But I think a lot of people are on the fence about it and not sure whether or not they should buy one. Are they going to be left out? Are they going to miss the train? And I'll start with this. The X100VI is not a camera for everyone. Its fixed 35mm focal length or lens made sure of that. If you're someone who typically switches through lenses, doesn't really know what focal length they prefer, this is probably not the camera for you, and I'd probably recommend any other Fujifilm with the ability to change out lenses if you still want the film simulations. You have to really love the 35mm focal length to not only enjoy using this camera, but to fork out $1,600 on a fixed lens camera. Personally, I love 35mm. It's definitely my favorite focal length if I had to choose one. So spending this kind of money to get a camera with all of these perks, it makes sense. Now, even though I have the X100F, the X100VI is a big upgrade, and definitely one that's worth it in my opinion. You get a much sharper lens, you get way better video features, you can actually shoot in 4K. With IBIS, something the X100V didn't even have, you get a better sensor, a better processor, faster and much more reliable autofocus. It doesn't sound like it's gonna break when you try to focus. Hold on, listen to this. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really, really loud. It has a tilting screen and so much more. On the other hand, if you have the X100V, you might be surprised, but I would probably stay with the X100V. There's not a huge difference, really only more megapixels, a new X-Trans 5 sensor, faster autofocusing, better video features, and IBIS, which are all upgrades, but not significant enough to make me upgrade from the X100V if I did have it. Overall, I enjoyed my time with this camera, and if it does become available, I'll probably end up buying it for some of the reasons I just mentioned. But that's it, unfortunately. I have to pack this little guy up and ship it back. So if you did enjoy this video or you found it useful, make sure to leave this video a like. Make sure to subscribe to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is street photography right here.
My hands are so cold.
You just take another photo of another photographer.